Hello everyone, welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Harley. Harley is from New Zealand, so let's see what Harley has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hey William, how you doing?
Hello Harley, good morning, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thanks so much for taking the time this morning for the interview, thank you.
No problem. Excited to be here and excited to speak with you.
So tell me, how was your last night? How was your night? Did you sleep well?
Yeah, it was good. What did we get up to? We had a there was a pub quiz at a bar in town. And we did better than we expected. Got pretty competitive, but didn't take it home this time. So good fun.
So tell me Harley, where are you from?
I'm from New Zealand. I'm from a small town called Temuka. There's like 4,000 people there. But that's home. Yeah, so New Zealand on the other side of the world to you.
So tell me something interesting about your hometown, something that stands out compared with other places in New Zealand.
Temuka is famous for its pottery. So it's quite interesting. Like it's a town that you'd never expect anybody to know. And the number of people that you run into on your travels, where you say, "Where are you from?" I'm from Temuka. Oh, the pottery, and it turns out like I've met people that have had, Temuka pottery in the boot of their car that they're giving to their children as they go off to uni, as I meet them for the first time. So it's a funny, it's funny seeing the town on the map like that.
What's the biggest joy of waking up in New Zealand every single morning?
Oh man, the scenery for sure. Like I'm a big outdoors sort of person. So last year I lived in Melbourne and
Okay.
yeah, and just moved back because of the scenery and the trails. Yeah, love it to bits.
It's interesting because, I talk to so many people, not just here on the podcast, like on the show, but also I talk to so many people, surround me. And always everyone says, oh my God, I want to go to New Zealand. I want to visit New Zealand. There's always something, a positive talk about it, always.
Yeah, it is a beautiful country, but I think a lot of the people here have the same talk about everywhere else. We're in the kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I think the grass is always greener, they say.
And what do you do for work, for living, Harley?
I run a marketing agency with a cousin of mine called Flame Growth. So we specialize in helping e-commerce brands with their paid advertising.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the idea about your agency, how everything started.
Yeah, how did it start? It's a great question. So, the backstory is my cousin and I we worked together at Harvey Norman. It's like a retail store in New Zealand, kind of like a Best Buy. And I was really into sales at the time. I was studying at university, and we went to Miami for this conference, like a sales and marketing conference. And I went there, and all the people that I spoke to, it seemed like every second person had a marketing agency or was in digital marketing. And we spoke to a few people who just really opened my eyes to that field. So I'd always had a passion for tech and technology. I was always a bit of a geeky kid. And I also loved psychology, like learning how people think and that side of sales. And so I stumbled into this field of digital marketing where it was like, wow, it's just two things that I love that are kind of, combined. So I did freelance work for maybe 3 years. I dropped out of uni to start my own sort of consulting. Um, Got taken in-house by a startup called First Table. They're very well known here in New Zealand and Australia, and the UK actually.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, worked with them for 3 years. We went through their first capital raise. I was their head of growth and kind of advertising. And then after we'd raised capital and kind of, gotten some fuel on the fire, I thought that was a good time for me to go back out and explore my own career. So yeah, George and I partnered back up and yeah, started Flame Growth, and we've been doing that for 18 months now.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey, okay?
Yep. Yeah, excellent. Looking forward to it.
But before we start our journey within the magic box, I'd like you to tell me something interesting about yourself or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Something interesting. Oh, great question. I mean, one interesting thing. I'm a big fan of the like the ancient Stoics and their philosophy and everything like that. And I got this wonderful birthday present from my partner. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a ancient Roman coin from about 300 AD, and this is my new favorite item on my desk.
Oh my,
Um, yeah, so it's I don't know if it's much of a fun fact about me, but I get a real big kick out of having this little slice of history that someone used to buy their bread or their, their lunch with, 2000 years ago.
Wow, my God, that's amazing. It means a lot for sure, this gift.
Yeah, she smashed it.
Harley, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here
Yeah.
my best friend. Full of random questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna play a song just first to relax before the first question, okay?
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the journey, during the interview, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yep, sure thing.
Amazing. First question is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
Someone offered to tell my future. Would I accept it? Um, no, I think it spoils the fun. I think learning to swim in the uncertainty is a critical part of life. Like I think that's where the joy comes from a lot of the time is like being surprised or proving to yourself you can do something when you can't or you know, overcoming uncertainty is like the whole crux of the experience, I think. So the idea of shortcutting that, yeah, I don't know, it spoils the magic a wee bit, you know? Um, yeah.
And if the same person gave you an envelope with your death date inside of it, would you open it or not? And why?
No. No, not a chance. For the same reason. Like
Uh-huh.
um yeah, I talked about the Stoics and their philosophy and kind of coming to terms with this part of life that, one day you will reach death. Um I think I think you have to live in a way where you would be equally happy if it came tomorrow as if it came in 60 years time or however far down the future. So
Totally.
I think yeah, again, no, I don't think I'd open it. I think there's a lot of strength and power to be found in coming to terms with it independently.
Aging for you is something that bothers you or you just see as a matter of life?
Aging,
Yeah.
I think it's oh man, I mean Brian Johnson's got some really interesting takes on this, right? Was he the inspiration for this question?
No.
No, okay. um he Brian Johnson makes a really interesting case that we've kind of just accepted death as a or aging rather as a part of life, and maybe that's something that we don't have to tolerate. Like we don't tolerate other diseases, we don't tolerate malaria, we don't tolerate cancer and these things. So why would we tolerate aging?
Hmm.
Um, so I think it's a very fair point. I also think it's a bit of a black box. Like we don't really know what happens if we do try to push against that. So I think philosophically, it's our duty to become unhindered by that. I think our job is to come to terms with that and be okay with aging.
Hmm.
But we also have a duty, I think, as humans to try and push against it and play the game and see if we can, see if we can conquer it, right?
Absolutely. I think aging is something in our head somehow, you know what I mean? Somehow
Mm.
it's just a number. Sometimes, sometimes I feel even younger when I was, I don't know, in my 20s,
Yep.
sometimes. And it's just all about in your mind. And nowadays with the technology, I think it's a different world right now. I think the 60s, the new 40, you know what I mean? So it's a different era for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that perspective is changing. Like I think you see a lot of older people. I used to go to this CrossFit gym. You can stop me if I'm going on too many rabbit
Okay.
holes. I used to go to this CrossFit gym when I was like 23, and when I first started there was this bloke there named Cliff, and Cliff was a 70, I think 73-year-old man, and he only started getting into fitness when he was in his like late 60s because he was so immobile that when he was doing the gardening and things like that, he couldn't bend down and do the potting around and stuff. So he went from that, not being able to bend down and put plants in pots, to competing. He was competing at like national events in CrossFit, and it's like, man, this is Yeah, to your point, I think it's a lot in our head. I think we accept it a lot more than we should in terms of how it debilitates us and impacts our behavior.
Totally. Next question. Hey, Harley from New Zealand. Next question is, when was the last time that you cried and why?
When was the last time I cried? Um,
Do you cry easily?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Um, no. When was the last time? I couldn't I couldn't remember. It's probably happened like once or twice in the last like 2 years.
Or one of the last time that maybe you felt emotional or maybe you felt a little bit like almost crying, let's say.
Yeah, sure. Like we kind of appreciate that. I feel like it happens that level of like being moved by, an emotional thing. I feel like that happens quite frequently. Like again, like having moved back to New Zealand to experience um the the world and like the outside world and I guess get more in touch with that and balance out my life a little bit. I think that there's definitely moments where it's like trotting around in the mountains that there's this sense of like liberation and I guess like so I was never a sporty kid. I was never playing rugby like all the other Kiwis. I think I played soccer for a while and I was 5 years old and I walked around with my hands in my pockets the whole time. Um, so I was never athletic, and then to go from that to now, like, you know, I don't know if I could say climbing, but some pretty like ambitious hikes, and seeing this side of the country that I'd never seen before, and having built the business up to where it is today, like the culmination of all of that has, yeah, been pretty moving. There's definitely been times where I've been like sitting at like a summit or something, having a bite to eat, and I'll just be like, man, this is fantastic. And yeah, just like overwhelmed by the gratitude to get here. So I say that's the closest thing. Not tears of sadness. I wouldn't say I get that
Uh-huh.
very often, fortunately. But yeah, tears of gratitude. I think have come close to that quite regularly.
What's the biggest joy of being Harley? What do you like the most about being you?
What's the biggest joy of being Harley? Probably that. Like, I think I've put so much time into building this like frame of mind around gratitude, around the stoic values of like strength, wisdom, discipline, and justice, and so much energy into like reshaping myself into someone who can see the world a certain way and take as much joy in it as I do. Um, yeah, my favorite thing is that like the waves. This quote by like Marcus Aurelius, like your goal should be to be. I'm gonna butcher this quote, consider it paraphrase, but like your goal is to be like the rock in the ocean that the waves crash against and stabilize,
Oh,
and flatten out through. And I feel my favorite thing about being me is that I feel like I do get a fair few waves. Business is not like a smooth ride. And of course, there's, plenty of other problems in the world. But I feel stable in among that. And I feel like I am capable of helping the people around me as well.
oh,
Those two things bring me a lot of joy. Yeah.
amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Right. So before the next question, what do you like the most about running your business, your marketing agency? What do you find most joyful about it? And at the same time as well, what's the biggest challenge?
What do I find joyful about it? Okay, so my favorite thing about what I do is taking ideas, like really cool ideas or really cool products, and um, like helping them reach a lot more people. And I feel like, especially my sector of marketing, gets very like it is pretty deeply rooted in consumerism. Like it's a lot of money in, money out. And so there's some stigma there, but we work with this fantastic artist called Andrew Tischler, and he has this art school that he runs online. And we've helped him scale up his business significantly. And to be fair, he had an enormous amount of success before we came into the picture.
Wow.
Um, but when you read the feedback that this guy gets on his program, when you see the transformation that he delivers for his students and how proud people are of their work because of his teachings, um, knowing that we were able to, I guess, put more fuel on the fire and give that experience to more people, I can't take credit for, teaching them how to paint and express themselves on the canvas. But I'd like to think I had some part in helping more people connect with that experience and helping really hardworking people like Andrew turn their business into like a home run and keep scaling and keep hitting their goals.
Oh,
So yeah, for me from the business side, that's what I really like is like the conversations where people talk about they've kind of reached this next level in their journey. It's like, oh man, I love it. There's nothing like it. Separately, what's the hardest thing? The hardest thing is the uncertainty. Like the coming back to what we talked about earlier. So the uncertainty is the hardest part, and the way to think of marketing in general, but especially like my end of the equation, is that it is, to be honest, very much like being at a casino. Like you're playing an odds game and seeing what is the probability that you can get one person to look at this thing and turn them into a customer. And the higher those odds are, the more money you're going to make and the bigger your business grows. Now, the upside of that is what I said earlier. The downside is that you naturally have a lot of like ups and downs. Like you put so much content out there that will lose to find the ones that win. And you will put so many things into place and do all these plans and things like that. And the truth is, the majority of them lose, but the art of the game is making your winners so big that they can accommodate the losses and then still push you into the green, similar to like trading and finance. So yeah, there's a lot of stress and pressure that comes with that because you can never step away from it, and there's always something that you could do. There's always like something on fire that you need to like be tending to. Yeah, in a good way, and to be clear, not like a
but
fire that's going to burn down the whole house, but a fire that you need to watch and kind of carefully stoke.
so you're saying that if I would like to take William the Magic Box to all the way to the moon and come back and explode around the world, you are the right person to come to talk about it?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Next question is, how do you describe a perfect, healthy relationship?
Any sort of relationship,
A romantic relationship.
romantic relationship. Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like I got very lucky with my current romantic relationship. So, what do I think makes it special? We have a real I'll give you an example, right? Like there's everyone talks about this idea that your partner is your teammate. And so people always talk like, you need to be in it together. And like I feel like it's very rare, but not impossible that you will have a partner that actually doesn't support you whatsoever. It's so rare that someone will like come to you and be like, "No, you I'm going to date you, but you suck." Like that's not as common. But what is really common is like this half support. And what my relationship with Kate, my girlfriend, we first started dating when I was doing 75 hard, this like fitness challenge, right? So I
Okay.
had to do 2 workouts a day and follow a bunch of other rules, just to like straighten myself out. And when it came time to like, it would be 10 p.m. We'd have work the next day, and I would still have a workout to do because we both had a busy day. She wasn't like, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you." She was like, "Right, where are we going? What are we doing?" And she was like in there with me every step of the way. And
Wow.
that was like a transformative level of support where I was like, "Oh my God, okay, this is what it's actually like. Like this is the walking the walk, not the talking the talk." So for
Wow.
me, it's I guess it's actions rather than words. It's like how it's showing up for people in a way that like how do you put it? It's showing up. I think there's a degree of sacrifice in there. Like if you can say all the words you want, it doesn't like incur any cost, and so there's no weight behind them. But nothing I think strengthens a bond better than taking those sacrifices and making those sacrifices for your partner and having that mutually is just the most powerful way to build a connection with someone. Yeah.
And so far, what has been the most meaningful lesson you've learned from her?
That box has got some good questions, brother. What's been the most meaningful lesson I've learned from Kate? Um, I think the biggest takeaway has been like how probably the same thing, like how much work you can invest into a relationship and how big that payoff is. Like that, I think that's a massive thing is to see
Mm-hmm.
like how sorry, it's kind of the same answer, but yeah, the biggest takeaway is like how fruitful it is to make sacrifices for the sake of a relationship, and for the sake of building something together. And it's like, yeah, just it's been totally transformative of my perspective to see how rewarding that is to know that like there's someone who has your back totally unconditionally, no matter what. Um, and to fight to make that happen and to sacrifice what you need to do to build the thing. Like it's not meant to be smooth all the time. You know, you have to forgive each other. You have to let your own, you know, there's just so much push and pull. But when you ride that wave together, it's like, you know, you're standing on top of the mountain. You feel like untouchable. Um, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so Kate is watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching.
I don't have a great answer for that because we're pretty open. Like we kind of say everything that we want to say to each other. Um, there's nothing I would say to her here that I haven't already told her. But Kate, you're beautiful and I love you.
Amazing. Love it. Three questions left. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, Harley, next question for you is, who was your favorite teacher and why?
Who's your favorite teacher? Well, Kate happens to be a teacher.
Oh, wow.
Um, so second favorite teacher. There's a guy called Jeremy Haynes at Jeremy on Instagram who is like the backbone of my entire career. Like I owe pretty much everything I have to this guy. He is, I would say, the best marketing teacher on the planet right now. In the industry, he's kind of known as your favorite marketer's favorite marketer. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
No. Okay, he's pretty low key, but like yeah, so pretty much all the big figures in the space have actually learned from this guy, or he's done, you know, built their brands
Oh,
for them. And he, I bought his program just after Miami, and of course, buying marketing courses online in 2019 is a bit of a minefield. Um, so I got really lucky that I hit on the right mentor. But he is um, the most. He's got the best mind frame around money that I think I've ever seen. And
mm-hmm.
he combines it with this like ruthless understanding of people and behavior and how to use the technology available. Like it's just oh, I can't sell it enough. If you're in the paid marketing space, there is no one better to learn from than Jeremy, and he's like so invested in the success of his students that
Wow.
yeah, it's like almost impossible to fail under his wing. So
What's the meaning of life for you, Harley, when you think about life?
well, that's a pivot. What's the meaning of life? Um, I think it's on each of us to derive our own meaning, and I think it's the wrong thing for me to do to sit here and try to prescribe something for everybody. But for me, I think the the root of it all is like self mastery, and so it's like how do you I talked about it before. Like the most pleasant thing about being me is that after 6 years of reading the Stoic literature and kind of getting to grips with that, now I feel like I've actually got this kind of lens through which I can see the world and just enjoy it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I left Melbourne. I still love Melbourne. I went around all these different countries in Southeast Asia. I love all of them. I came back to New Zealand. I love New Zealand. Like it's almost um, you I feel like I have a pleasant experience almost anywhere I go, and irrespective of what happens to me, because of my mind frame that I've built and been lucky enough to, develop with I've been lucky to have the information to get me there. Um, and so I think achieving that is like, one of the first things that we really derive meaning from. And then how do you use that for good? How do you help people with it? Because when you're in that position, I think you can become a rock for people around you a lot better as well. You become a lot more effective at supporting people. So your duty becomes to do that. So, not a concise answer. What's the meaning of life? Um,
They're not right or wrong. That's what comes to your mind.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
feel, yeah. I don't know. Do good stuff. Live virtuously. Do good stuff.
Tell me a life lesson that life has taught you that you feel very grateful for it.
One lesson life has taught me that I'm grateful for. Um, that I would say that hardship makes you stronger, and it sounds like a bit of a platitude, but you don't. Um, yeah, this is actually kind of similar to my question for you later on. There's a quote in Letters to Lucilius by Seneca that talks about how the strongest and most courageous boxer is not the one who's never taken a defeat in the ring, but it's the one who's seen his blood on the parchment. It's the one who's heard his teeth crunch under another man's fist. And he is the one who, although he might have been defeated in the match, was never defeated in spirit, and shows up with the most vigor in the ring. And I think there's that perspective of taking the knocks that you get to actually become assets, and become learning experiences is it's like a superpower, man. Like nothing can take that away from you once you get there. Every conversation you have, or every challenge, every fight, you either win or you learn, and so you win every time. I
Totally.
think that is powerful.
Yes, I think there's always a takeaway of anything that happened to you when you go through tough times, when you go through beautiful times, happy times. There's always a message behind. And it's interesting because when you are feeling the happiest, it's easier to see it because you are just feeling the greatest. When you're feeling down or feeling melancholic or sad or going through a very difficult situation, you don't see the mess straight away because it's hard for you
No.
to somehow digest the whole thing. However, when you somehow get out of it, you go like, oh my God, now I understand why things went their way. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes you can see straight away, but I think it's life talking to you. That's how I see. When you are feeling the greatest, when you are feeling the saddest, it's literally life talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's no way to never have a bad experience, right? Like it's not like you feel good all the time, but I think there's
So
to your point, like when you hit that, the question is what's the opportunity in this? Is this an opportunity to reinforce the values that you want to live by? Is this an
yeah,
opportunity to strengthen skills that enable you to do more or achieve your goals more effectively? It's like, yeah, um there's almost always an opportunity in there to be found.
totally. Two questions left. Let's do
Let's go.
it. Right, before the next question, of course, we got connected through social media, through Instagram. So tell me, what's the idea behind your page?
What's the idea behind my page? I've spent 6 years learning this like really nerdy side of marketing, that's also one of the biggest like secret weapons I think a business can have to grow.
Hmm.
And a lot of my career, although we work with, today we work with a lot of like fairly large companies. Um, the by absolute numbers, most of the people I've worked with have been like small, medium enterprise, a lot of family-owned businesses, things like that. And so, the first half of my career, that was all I did, and it's such a black box for the people who don't understand it. And there's so much misinformation out there, and it's such a minefield for anyone who wants to step into that space. That I wanted to create something that's a resource for those people to get decent information that's
Hmm.
not some 20-year-old kid with like a rented Lamborghini, standing outside of it with a, something inauthentic.
Yeah.
And so the goal of the page, Ecom Harley, is to be an authentic source of information in that space. So it won't be uncommon to hear me say that actually a lot of businesses shouldn't be running ads yet. There's these things you need to do first. And things like that. So yeah, the plan of attack is obviously to help as many businesses as we can. And again, in the interest of transparency, my hope is that it connects us with more companies that we can actually help directly and have a relationship with, right? So yeah, the goal is to just arm people with information about this black hole of advertising.
I see. All right. Next question for you is, usually, what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
What is the first thing that I think about when I wake up? I mean, I guess technically my schedule. Just a quick little mental log of what's next to do in the brain. Right now, my routine is to get up, make a coffee or two, and just read a book and kind of stabilize the day that way. So easy to get into the trap of like having a little passive scroll of Instagram or something in bed. And it just, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I work in this space, but every time I do that, I find that I get distracted easier throughout the day and I'm more lethargic
Easy.
throughout the day. Right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
the question I asked was like, what can I replace that with? What's a good suitable replacement? And so yeah, reading some like good nonfiction books, just get some information and is
Mhm.
if it's a hard book to read, like if it's articulated in a quite a challenging way, then it slows you right down. And I find that is actually a really grounding way to start the day while you're having a coffee. Sit outside, get some light, have a coffee, read a book, and just set the tone for the day. I found that really fruitful.
That's your morning ritual, or it depends the day, depends your schedule. You have a different ritual every morning.
It's my ritual, I suppose, through the working week. So like Monday to Friday. Usually on the weekends it'll be a bit more flexible. Often I'm trying to figure out a big adventure to go on. So on the weekends it probably starts with looking at all trails and finding like some silly mountain somewhere that I can trot up and Kate and I can have a fun lunch at. But outside of that, no. It's just a weekday ritual. Yeah.
Question for you, Harley. Running a business, working marketing, it's something that never stops. There's always something happening. Working social media, there's always, something never stop. However, you're kind of person that somehow you can disconnect it completely for a day, or literally do something that's completely away from your business, or even though you are doing it, in the back of your mind, there's always a thought or idea that you go like, okay, I need to organize that, or I need to think about that, or I need to connect with that. Or, you kind of pair that somehow you completely can disconnect it for a day or long hours.
Um, my belief here is that humans, in the human mind, is additive, not subtractive. And what I mean by that is that it's like the pink elephant thing. If I say don't think of a pink elephant, you've already thought of it. So you can't not think about work, but you can think about something else, and it's your duty. If you think about it all the time, eventually, I think there's maybe 1% of the population that actually can be all go 24/7, 7 days a week. You've got your Alex Hormozis, people like that, and they exist. I think the vast majority of people do actually have like a little bit of a recharge or a little bit of a need to diversify their week or day. And so the question becomes not how do you not think about work? It becomes what can you replace the work with?
Uh-huh.
And the easiest answer that everybody falls into here is to smash a bunch of beers at the pub after work or, do that sort of thing. And I am a huge enthusiast of a beer at the pub after work. Don't get me wrong. But you need something that improves your life the more you do it to replace that gap with. And so that's really the crux of, I think, what makes you successful. So what can you add in that will take your attention away from the noise, the media, the millions of things that you could possibly do in a given moment that will suck you out of it. And it's why I love hiking, man. It's why I love going outside. There's no signal in, in Fiordland, New Zealand. You
Uh-huh.
can't do anything. So like driving and hiking are my two favorite things to do to reset, because it's physically impossible for me to do anything more productive then. And so it's a lot easier for me to come to terms with and accept that this is what I need to do right now. Let's just enjoy it.
Saying that, what would be the title of your memoir one day?
um, conditions. Conditions would be the sum of my memoir, and it would be written about how we are the sum of the conditions around us. Um, and our job is not to control ourselves and our own behavior, but to control the conditions that feed our behavior.
Wow. Okay. Last question. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do the last one. But before the last question, talking to you, I just there was like a genuine question that came to my mind. People. First of all, I believe, as a personal, opinion, I think people, when they work with sales, I think it's a talent. I think, you can, for example, me myself, I would be horrible as a salesman because I don't have the thing about sales. I think it's like it's an art, like an artist. They are is a gift. They are doing something that I love it. So my question for you is, working marketing. Do you think that's it's something that you, of course, the most you do, you get more used to it, and create even more ways to become better and better. But do you think that anyone or could work on it, or you need to have something about it, so there needs to be something about you that you to be able to to do your career or to performance your, what I mean, your work in
Mm.
marketing. How do you see that? I don't know if I was somehow
No, I
clear.
understand. I understand what you're saying. So I'll approach this from the perspective of sales. So I had horrific social anxiety before my first sales job. I couldn't talk to. I had no idea what I was doing. I got nervous every time I had to speak to someone.
Right,
And what I learned was that there's actually, originally I thought the same. I thought there were people who are born with this like gift of the gab, and they can just talk the talk. They're magnetic. They've got the charisma. Um, and then there's people like me who are, just not that. And so I felt like kind of defeated by it. But then I went out and I started learning about these kind of like underlying rules of communication. Like, how do you stand and talk to someone in a way that makes them feel heard? How do you guide a conversation? How do you get a better understanding of what someone wants and then, demonstrate that you understand that? As soon as I learned that there's actually a tactical approach, like there are facts and, principles that you can follow that just make other people feel better. And when they feel better around you, they like you more. It was this
well,
massive unlock for me. And I felt so much more comfortable having these conversations and these dialogues. So I would challenge you on your belief that you're not a very good salesperson. I think you would be fantastic.
the thing.
I think so. Yeah, I think you put a lot of effort into making people feel comfortable, and I think that's very powerful. I think that's what people seek in a sales interaction is authenticity, and a sense of security. So, yeah, I think actually anyone can learn it. I think there's a different flavor for every person. I think I would sell very differently to a lot of other people that I know. Does that make me better or worse? I don't know. I feel like I do a good job at my job. Um, and then to bring that over to marketing, the principles are almost exactly the same. So like it's rather than it being I need to stand and like follow this person's body language to make them feel like we're aligned. Instead of that, it's I need to use this person's wording and the wording that they see in their world back at them. So if I'm advertising for a roofing company, I need to use words that say I want leads who are roofers. I want to speak the roofers language. So what are the words that the roofers use? How do they speak? What do they wear? What's their like what makes them feel at home? What's their in group? And you just mirror that back at them. It's the same thing. Like the entire principle is making people feel heard. And there
Well,
are fundamental psychological principles that achieve that through any channel, whether it's a face-to-face conversation or digital.
I see. Okay. Last question for you is, what does success mean to you?
um, I think it's entirely self-driven. Like I think especially now there's the whole like hustle culture thing. And honestly, I'm still like a little bit divided on it. Like, so there's part of me that says, um, money makes a lot of your decisions for you. And I think there's something to recognize that, if if you, dare I say, have like family that are ill, or, there's people around you that need help, financial help. But it's big financial help, like, 5, 6 figure financial help for their health or for their well-being or whatever it is. Um, if you can't give that to them because you can't afford it, then you didn't make the decision. The money made it for you, and it doesn't make you a bad person, but it does make you ask, if you didn't do everything in your power to equip yourself with the money to be able to help in that situation, what are the ethics of that? And I think that's a really interesting question where, yeah, what does it mean to not put your best foot forward in terms of your ability to help people and equipping yourself with resources to do so. So I think that's one way to look at it. The other is in terms of how do we define success. Again, I think you can also make the case that it's deeply personal, and
Yeah.
when you look back at what the ancient Greeks or the Romans and Kant and all these people have talked about, then it's actually even Nietzsche would say this. It's about like either living in accordance with nature or finding a way to experience joy in the little slice of time that you get here on this earth. So, um, I guess my answer is I don't know, but I think our job is to throw a few darts at the dartboard and start steering towards whatever we think it is.
And do you believe that money can bring happiness?
Yes. Um. Uh, I I think money can bring pleasure. I think money can bring um moments or activities that reinforce your values, and I think that happiness is what you feel when you live in accordance with your values. Um. So I think money is a vector to kind of indulge in that. Like if you're someone who's really charitable, you would get a big kick out of like just going and throwing 100 grand at a charity. Like that's fantastic. Imagine that you feed 100,000 people. Imagine all the smiling faces. Like it's a really moving thing. So yeah, I think that is a form of pleasure. Um, but they're fleeting. They're not like permanent. They're moments. They're they're in and they're out. So it depends on how you define happiness. But if happiness is, something that sits within you and stays there, then no, I don't think money gets you there. But I think it lets you amplify either the happiness or the sadness that you have inside you. You can either repeat the stuff that made you happy or repeat the stuff that made you sad.
Amazing. All right, so on the internet, let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to say some words, just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay.
Let's start with money,
Power.
family,
Mum.
fear,
Anxiety.
life,
Death.
love.
Passion.
One word for religion,
Faith.
sex,
Intimate.
politics,
Power also.
okay? Friendship, sorry.
Friendship.
Yeah,
Oh, jokes, humor,
desire,
lust,
regret,
useless,
success,
impact,
wish,
John Cena, Make a Wish. Might have gone a bit too off the cuff.
one word for happiness.
Virtue.
Let's see if I'm gonna say the name of your town correctly. Temuka.
Correct.
One word for Temuka.
Oh, I got a lot of words. Peace.
Nice one. One word for New Zealand.
Home.
And the last one now, marketing. One word.
Influence.
I like that. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your girlfriend for a coffee and I'm going to ask her, define Harley in one positive and one negative word only. What she would say about you?
Ambitious and ambitious.
Interesting. If I would ask the same question to your mom, would be the same answer?
What would mum say about me? Frustrating. Um, frustrating, but proud, I would hope.
Oh, sweet. Let's play now, Harley and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before asking the question, tell me something that stands out compared with other marketing agents, around the globe. Tell me something like about yours that it's like that's something unique about it that you cannot find anywhere else.
Yeah, so we noticed that everybody who hires a marketing agency is really frustrated that they get this guy on a big salary, they get this director or the CEO, they come in and they sell them, and then as soon as they hand over the check, the senior marketer is nowhere to be seen. They have a conversation with an account manager once a month, and they never meet the person who's actually looking after their business, which is devastating. I mean, for these people, a business is like the child. They've poured years and years into this. So the thought of handing it over to someone who's not even invested, they haven't met the owners, is like ridiculous. So where we try to be different is that when, I have a conversation with someone who's considering working with us, they're speaking to the person who does all the work. I'm the guy in the ad accounts. I'm the guy who works with the creatives. Like everything comes back to me. And so that relationship is so important. Because of the work that goes into understanding the people that we work with. Like I mentioned Andrew earlier, I've listened to his podcast from like 10 years ago, because it's my job to understand not just him today, but his journey and everything that got him there. So I'd like to think that where we're different is that there's no behind the scenes outsourcing efficiency stuff that detracts the soul out of your business. Like we try to be close to the people who are really making magic happen for the customers, and allow you to be close to the people who are finding you more customers to deliver that magic to.
Wow. Okay, Harley, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So what is the last thing that you read or learned that significantly changed your behavior? And how did your behavior change?
What a great question. Wow, what a great question.
It's a big one. You can take a second.
The big one, yeah, I need to because it's something very interesting. I'm trying to think about. I've got the answer straight away because there is something that I've learned not long ago that I heard somewhere that I'm so grateful for it. But there is something else that I heard the other day that somehow I said, "Oh my God!" I'm so glad that this came up to me because somehow it made me. All right, I'm gonna say the first one that came to my mind, and if I get something, if I remember others saying, I'll come back to you. But I'll say the very first one. The other day I'm from Brazil, originally from Brazil, and I was watching the other day this artist. She's an actress, also she's a performer, and she's very funny. She's a comedian in the end of the day. And I was watching her interview the other day, and she said something interesting. She said she achieved a lot of success in her career already. She made a lot of different movies as well. And she said something interesting. She said, "We never get there." And she said, "Look, you're gonna do a lot of things in your life. You're gonna achieve success. You're gonna feel the greatest some point. However, there's always something else for you to achieve as well. There's always something else that you can improve yourself. There's always something else that you can learn more about your career, about your life and everything in a professional way." So she said, "You never get there. If you mentalize that in your mind, trust me, it's gonna take in a direction that you're not expecting, and you're always gonna have this drive inside of you that's gonna always be there, this flame always there. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that makes all sense. And she said, don't get me wrong. You're gonna have times in your life that are gonna feel like, oh my God, I got here and it's amazing. It's a great place to be. However, you haven't got there yet. There's always something
Yeah.
else. And I was listening to that. I was like, oh my God, it makes no sense because it somehow isn't a way for you to improve yourself always, always, because there's always something that you can improve about yourself, your professional life, your personal life. And if you think that one point you was like, okay, I achieved what I wanted and that's it. So what's the meaning for that? There's like your life stopped for for a while. So when she said that, I was like, okay, it's something that I always need to think that there's always something else to achieve because you never get there. And just remind the other part of the question. And how did I got
How did
that?
your behavior change after you found that out? Like, what do you
Perfect,
do differently now?
perfect, great, great, great. Now I understand. Somehow everything that I'm doing since I learned that I listened to that phrase. Somehow everything that I do, even when I'm organizing something, a project, something that I want to achieve, I always think about that. Okay, that's something that you want to achieve, you want to start doing it, but remember that you're never gonna get that. There's always something else after that. So it just somehow stay in my mind. And whatever I'm planning something, when I have something to do with the show, the magic box, I just think, okay, there's always something that I always can achieve. So there's something that always stay with me. And trust me, I'm so glad that I heard that, Harley, because it's very simple. But if you think about it, it's something that this flame is always going to be there. So yeah, that's how I've been implementing my life, and always the back of my mind, always, always, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful. I mean, like, there's something about like getting to the milestones that you think what you need to be happy. Like, you're like, I need this number of money. I need this number of money per month. I need,
mhm,
this following. It doesn't matter what like the line in the sand is. And it's like you get there and there is this little, like you say, the flame, and you spark up, and then all of a sudden it kind of dissipates. It's like it slips through your fingers, and the satiation is not permanent. And so
totally,
yeah, the I completely agree. The art is in like finding joy in the chase, not just um in the conquests. But also I think we always need to be pointing at something. That's a critical part of finding stability.
totally. And also, I think don't get me wrong. I think all of us we have the tendency of achieve something. You know what I mean? Of course, it's normal. I think it's something that we have always with us. However, you always need to remember that there's just something. And there's always something else
Yes.
you can achieve or
Yeah.
you can improve or learn. There's always, and sometimes you can take even that to your personal life as well. It's not just about your professional life, your personal life as well.
Absolutely.
There's always something for you to improve about yourself. You know what I mean? There's always something for you to learn. Imagine we're gonna somehow, life is so short that we're gonna finish our life without knowing so many things, so much things in our. And to imagine, you know what I mean? The most you. That's why I'm so curious. I love the show because I'm always curious about everything because you always learn something, and it's great when you learn something new, different. It could be a simple thing. You just own your day. You just own it because you learn something simple or like wow, like something amazing. So I think that's I always kept that since a young age. I remember, my God, I want to learn what I'm gonna learn today. What's something that I'm gonna be curious about. So I always had that. And doing the show for me, it's great because I always learn something new. It's great. I love being here. So yeah, that's my answer for you. Amazing.
Yeah, it's powerful. Well done, man. That's a great answer. It's
Did you,
fantastic.
did you enjoy the interview, Hardy?
Yeah, it was great. It was good. Yeah, I had a great time.
Thanks again. Thanks for being so kind and making time for it. I know you're a busy man. I know the time is on as well, and we made it happen. So thanks again. I haven't had on the show someone from New Zealand for quite a while. And actually, when I started doing the show 5 years ago, one of my first guests was someone from New Zealand, and I
Oh, no way.
remember, yeah, it was amazing. I remember talking to him, and he was so excited about the show. The show wasn't on yet, so I was like
Mm.
piling up interviews. I had 100 interviews before
Oh
I
my
I
God.
launched the show,
Wow.
and I remember, and he was like, "William, when my interview goes live," I was like, "Wait a minute, I haven't launched the show yet." So I would love to have people around the globe. So thanks again for your time. Thanks for being so kind and find time for the interview. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Whoa. A positive message for anyone to live by. Dude. Um, stop. Yeah. Stop wasting time arguing about what a good man is and act like one.
Wow, beautiful, straightforward. Love it.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, William. This has
Thanks
been
again.
excellent.
Enjoy your day, okay? Bye bye. Take
Will do.
care.
You too. See you later.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.